my face and my hair, I've kind of just woke up. But I'm actually here in LA, woohoo! I made it on the plane on my own, made it through the airport on my own. It was quite a quiet journey. I was with 3 other people in a line. None of us knew each other. We were all sort of single flyers. And when I got to LA, Rob hired a Mustang to drive us around this week, which I was super impressed with. I've only ever really been in a proper sports car one other time, so I was kind of shocked and in awe at this giant Mustang. I'd like to say it would be sunny LA, but it's not actually sunny right now. It's so rainy. This is not ideal. I just need to plan what I'm going to do today. The beach is definitely out. Looking and feeling a lot more alive. It's still raining outside, but I'm going to venture out and see if I can seek out the Warner Brothers studio tour. Being in here is nice. I mean, it's a really nice apartment, but I'm in LA, so I'm going to go explore. There's a lot of stuff there about shows that I've not seen, like Pretty Little Liars, Gilmore Girls. There were a few other ones, like American sitcoms I've never seen, but it was still an interesting tour nonetheless. And I got to go on the different sets for different films, and there were houses and things that they built, and there was like a whole town that was like a custom-built town for the purpose of making films, which was really cool. The only downside to the tour, though, was that there was this crazy, when I say crazy, it was a little bit creepy actually, Indian guy who wanted to be my friend. And I was on my own, and he was like, oh, I'm on my own too. And then he was like, what are you doing afterwards? Do you want to come out somewhere? And I was like, I'm meeting my cousin for lunch, but thanks. And then he was like, oh, I'm going to this club this evening. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, no, I have plans, sorry. And then later he asked for my number, and I didn't really know what to do, so I was like, okay. So I gave it to him, and then he phoned it, but it's just my US number at the moment. And I've only got it for a week, so hopefully nothing will come of that. And then he was like, can I add you on Snapchat? And I was like, oh, I don't really use it that much. And he was like, can I add you anyway? And I was like, oh, okay. So he did, and then after I finished the tour, I blocked him. I can't even remember what his name was. He was trying to stand next to me when we had to like stop at all these exhibits and things, and he kept asking me to take photos of him, and I was like, okay. And then he asked if I wanted any photos at all, and I was like, no, that's fine. And then he asked if he could take a photo with me for his Snapchat. So I was like, sure, okay. He probably wanted to tell all of his nerdy little friends that he'd met a girl and got her number, but it was just a bit awkward. We had to go around on these golf buggies, and it was 3 people to a line, so I made sure I sat next to a couple so that he could not sit next to me. He did sit in front of me though, and I was like, oh, please don't turn around and talk to me. That was not fun. I lost him eventually in the gift shop, and I'm so glad about that, because I worried he was gonna like follow me around and be like, oh, so what are you doing now? And then when he saw I wasn't actually having lunch with my cousin, if he just wouldn't leave me alone. But thank God, hopefully I will never see him again. Apparently he's studying medicine at Harvard, if that's even true, but great, good for him. I do not want to be his friend though, so thanks but no thanks.
Wow.
Whoa.
Holy moly.
I've just eaten lunch, and I think today I'm going to plan to to go to the Getty Centre, which is a free art exhibit in LA. I've heard a lot of good things about it actually, but because the weather is still pretty rubbish here today. I mean, it's 16 degrees, but it's cloudy, and then this evening, 9-10 o'clock-ish, it's going to rain. Hopefully I will get some sunshine in this trip at some point. That would be wonderful. Thanks. The building itself was really cool. The architecture of that was also a piece of art, and then there was the gardens too, which was quite nice to look at, although because it's been raining here a lot, the gardens were closed off because it's too muddy. I mean, come to the West Country and you'll see muddy. Spend an hour of my time listening to this talk about the gardens, and it was basically a load of quite elderly, very enthusiastic gardeners, and they were all talking about the gardens. I thought there were going to be some fun facts, they were going to explain the gardens, but they really went into very specific detail about very specific plants. And then because they're all gardeners as well, they were comparing their own gardens, and I was the youngest one there, and I was just sort of sat not talking to anyone. But that was an hour of my time that I will never get back. And then the rest of looking around the museum was really rushed because it closed at 5:30, and I was like, I haven't got any time. I think it would be a really nice place just to hang out in the sunshine, because the building itself and the actual gardens were so nice. It's all like white marble, as you can see, but I really liked the whole atmosphere there. It was very calming and relaxing. Yesterday it was a little bit sunnier still. I had a Chick-fil-A. That was really good. Chick-fil-A sauce. It was interesting, the sauce, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And then I went and walked to Santa Monica. Now that's quite a long walk, it's nearly 3 miles, so it took me most of the day. No one in LA walks, everyone has cars and they just drive over Venice Beach. That was kind of interesting. A lot of people trying to sell you mixtapes, a lot of homeless people as well. Not that there's anything wrong with them, and I mean they're all harmless. If you just say no, they'll carry on. But walking along there, I was just looking for somewhere to sit down and stop. But every bench had a homeless person on, so I was like, can't stop here. So I just kept walking and kept walking. And by the time I did find somewhere to stop, I was halfway to Santa Monica, so I was like, nah, I may as well go all the way. And they've got a pier there, and the actual area of Santa Monica is really nice. Oh, Muscle Beach, that was quite interesting. It's a beach where everyone goes to work out, and they're all very fit. Everyone you see there is just, they've got such great bodies, and they all look very toned, and they are all doing things that are very fit, and I'm like, I'm a chubby little piglet next to them. But that was quite nice to go and see and walk along. By the time I got to Santa Monica, the fog was rolling in. It was so foggy yesterday. I think all along the seafront there was just fog everywhere. It was a very weird experience because it was still sunny, but it was foggy at the same time. When I got to Santa Monica, I had a look along the pier. There was just standard pier stuff. There were rides, there was like stands of people selling churros and things, and games that you could play, but I didn't spend much time there. Then I walked back and I didn't walk all the way back. I got an Uber from Santa Monica to Westfield Shopping Centre. So while I was at Westfield, I did a bit more shopping, went into Bath and Body Works again, and I met this guy who was looking at the hand sanitizers as well. And he wasn't ugly, and he looked sort of about my age, and then he started a conversation with me. So he was just talking about all the different Bath and Body Works hand sanitizers and how there was so much choice, and then he just kept talking about like his life and himself, and he goes to and from Germany quite a lot, and then he added me on Snapchat as well, and I was like, do you want to come for a drink? That's what I think where I'm going next. And he was like, I've got actually so much more shopping to do, and then he was like, and I'm gay, by the way, and I was like, Well, there goes my hopes and dreams of finding an LA romance. I was going to do a bit more shopping in Charlotte Russe, and when I got to Charlotte Russe, I realised that I'd lost my purse. It's this, you know I've got it now, but it was essentially this purse with the wrist strap, and I always carry it around on my wrist in my hand so I can easily access things like my phone and any money and any cards I might need to hand. So I think I put that down somewhere to look at something, and then I just didn't pick it up again. So I got to Charlotte Russe and I realised that my purse wasn't in my hand, and I was like, oh, maybe it's in my bag. So I checked my bag and it wasn't there either. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I've left it somewhere. So I ran back down to Victoria's Secret. I asked the shop assistant, I was like, has anyone handed in a purse? But I had to call it a wallet because everyone in America calls that a wallet. A purse is a handbag. So I was like, I've lost my purse, and I was describing it. I was like, it's black and it's got a wrist strap and there's rose gold hardware. And she was like, no honey, sorry, I haven't seen it. And I was like, oh my goodness, okay. And then I went back up to Charlotte Russe and asked the same there, and they were like, no, sorry, I haven't seen it. And then I went back down to Victoria's Secret, and I'm panicking at this point because it has my 2 phones in it. I've got my American phone and my UK phone, and they were both in there, so I had no way of contacting anyone, including Rob, who was supposed to pick me up for dinner at 7:30, and it was getting closer and closer to that time, and I was like, before I lost it, I was like, I'll probably be at home by then. And I wasn't at home, and I had no way to call an Uber to get back home because I'd lost my phones. I had no money to pay for a taxi because all of that was in my purse, and I had more money at home, but just to get there I didn't have anything on me. So I was panicking, and I went to the security of the whole mall, explained my predicament, and she took down all my details, and I was like, I'm gonna have to give you my email address, I'm sorry, because I don't have my phones on me. And she was like, oh, okay, is there anyone we can call? And I was like, I don't know my cousin's American phone number. I don't know anyone else's phone number apart from mine and my home phone, like the landline back at my parents' house. And I was like, I know a phone number in England, and they were like, no, you can't call England. So I was panicking, and I went back down, and I was like, I need to contact Rob somehow, and I need to tell him what's going on, because otherwise he's going to drive back home and I'm not going to be there, and he's going to panic and he's going to worry because he's a worrier like that. So I went, and I was just, I didn't know what to do, and there was a guy in the middle of the mall. They have these stands, and there's a guy who was on a t-shirt stand, and I was just like, I need to log onto my Facebook and tell Rob that I'm still at the mall, like I've lost my purse and my phones. So I went there, and I was like, I'm really sorry, I know this is a long shot, but can I borrow some kind of device to log onto my Facebook to contact my cousin, because I've lost my phones. And he was like, is it an Apple phone? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, why don't you just go and find my iPhone? And I was like, oh my goodness, you are a genius. Because obviously in my state of mind, I was so panicked right then. I was in a foreign country, at least they all spoke English, but I was in a foreign country with no phone, no money, and no way to get contact with anyone. So he suggested that, and I logged onto my iCloud on his works laptop, and I was like, thank you so much. And then we pulled up the map, and he was like, oh, so it's still in the mall. And he was showing me what to do, so he put it in lost mode for me, and he was like, okay, it's playing a noise, do you know where you think you left it? And I was like, I think it's in Victoria's Secret. So I went back into Victoria's Secret, saw a different shop assistant. She was like, are you okay, honey? And I was like, I've lost my wallet. It's playing a noise and I need to try and find it. And she was like, oh, okay, let me just go and see if I can turn down the music for you. So she went behind the desk, and she was like, what was your name? And I was like, it's Natasha Brown. She was like, oh, I think we have it. And I was like, oh my God, seriously? And she came and she had it, and it was there, and oh my goodness, I actually hugged her. I was so overwhelmed. And then I ran back to the guy on the t-shirt stand, and I was like, I've got it, thank you so much for all your help, you are a genius, and you've literally saved my life today. I was a mess yesterday. I nearly cried in the mouth. I didn't know what I would have done if I couldn't find it. And I was like, that's the American phone I've got is Rob's old phone, and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna kill me. I've lost his phone, I've lost the American SIM card he's got in it.
There's not a single day that passes without you on my mind. Not even 1 minute can end up before you come around. I yearn for the days when I see your face here before me. I long for the times you held me in your arms.
This place is beautiful. I want to live here. I went to the Hollywood Boulevard yesterday. Was that? No, the Hollywood Walk of Fame it was. So where the stars have names in them on the pavements. There are a lot of people dressed up as well, offering to take photos with you, and a lot of people trying to give you mixtapes. The trick is just to not touch anything and be like, no thank you, I don't want your mixtape. But yeah, they're all harmless really. I've heard not to go there at night though, so I left at like 3:30ish and then came to Santa Monica, watched the sunset, which was beautiful. I was so happy. It was like the only bit of sun that I had yesterday, which is kind of disappointing being in the city, or the state of sunshine rather. I made friends with a wee little dog. It came and licked me, and apparently it was called Pumpkin, which I thought was really sweet. Just on the promenade, which is like my favourite place on earth now, I've decided. I really like it here. Believe it or not, those are people, and they are surfing. Made it to Santa Cruz after a 5-hour drive, which is pretty intense, but I wasn't driving it, so that was fine. We have eaten some food, we've seen sea lions, we walked in the sun, we found some sun. Had to drive 5 hours to do so, but we found some sun. We all just appreciate how this car, not that you can really see it, but it projects a force light from the door onto the ground. Isn't it beautiful? I just got both my cameras going on here. It's fine, sorted. YouTuber at work. Just love it. Loving the whole lot.